In the Gospel of Mark, chapter 8, we read, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and the gospel's will save it." Jesus gives us 3 directives. Deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. We could hear these words of Christ and simply glide along the surface, perhaps not fully understanding what these words might entail. If we come to God in prayer with these words of Christ in our mind and in our hearts, we open ourselves to a deeper understanding, a deeper awareness of what Jesus is asking of each of his followers. Jesus never refuses our request for a deeper understanding of God's holy will. He never refuses the gift of the Holy Spirit that we might be enlightened on the journey of faith that we are called to walk in this life. So what does it mean to deny oneself? Does it simply mean to give up a few of the things we might enjoy as a form of sacrifice, as we sometimes do during the season of Lent? In some ways, well, yes, that is a certain type of denial of self. But is Jesus asking us to go deeper than this? To deny oneself is primarily to allow oneself to be empty of anything that is not of God. In other words, to let go of anything that is keeping us at a distance from God. Jesus wants us to live in truth, not in falsity of any kind. Jesus is asking us to let go of any type of false sense of self and allow ourselves to be made new in Him. He wants us to be transformed into the person that God has created us to be. He wants us to deny any false sense of self and to let the light, the peace, and the love that comes from Him alone to dwell within us. Only then are we ready to assume our rightful role as true disciples of Christ. And only when we bear within us the light, the peace, and the love of Christ can we, in truth, bring these gifts into this very, very dark and very wounded world. What does it mean to take up your cross? Does it mean that Jesus is asking us to simply suffer in this life? Does it mean that we are to simply accept our struggles and the many trials that we will face in this life? Does it mean to simply bear the crosses that inevitably come to all of us? To take up your cross means something a bit more, I believe. It means that we are asked by Christ to bring our trials, our struggles, and our sufferings. We're called to bring them all to his cross. And in deepest faith, unite our sufferings to his sufferings, which means we're asking God to allow our sufferings in this life to be redemptive, as are the sufferings of Christ himself. He went to the cross for the sake of our redemption. And when we take up our cross, we are doing what Jesus did for the sake of all humanity. You and I, we have the power to allow our sufferings to be united to his for the sake of ongoing redemption. Redemption that brings healing to the terrible woundedness of this world. Our suffering, then, has ultimate meaning. And united with his sufferings, we find our own inner healing. For his cross always leads to resurrection. When we choose to let go of ourselves so that he alone may dwell within us, and when we choose to allow our own sufferings to be united to his for the sake of all humanity, then we are following him. We are his disciples, and we walk with him in intimate friendship. And it's only then that we experience the truth of who we are. Beloved children of God, made in the image and the likeness of God. Mary, our mother, is the one who will lead us all to a deeper understanding of what it means to be a true disciple of her Son, Jesus. She knows more intimately than anyone what it means to be filled with the life of Christ. She knows more than anyone what it means to bring our sufferings to the cross of her Son. For she herself stood at the foot of his cross and offered her sufferings for the sake of all the children of God. She, more than any other, understands what it means to follow him, to live this life as the person of love and light and peace that God has created us to be. Once again, we come to her, our mother, for she is the pathway that leads us to him. And he alone is the way and the truth and the life. May we walk with Mary, our mother, all the days of our lives. For For when we walk with Mary, we walk with Christ.